Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I'm located in Oregon in the United States. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoy what you see, and I hope you'll give it a try. I have two fairly simple cards for you tonight. One of those, we're going to make a wreath, and we're going to use the new Stampin' Positioner tool. And I'll show you how easy it is to make those wreaths. Let's go ahead and see who's on. Give everybody a minute to find us. And then we'll get started. Okay. Hello, Lynette. So nice of you to join us. Okay. So tonight, our first project, we're going to make a birthday card using Moon and Back. So we'll make that. Stampin' Up! Had lots of announcements today for my regular customers. I put out an email, and one of the biggest changes coming is that Stampin' Up! Is going to replace our ink pads, and they will begin a slow rollout of those this year and next. Along with that will come a color revamp, which means that they'll take away some of our colors, and then they'll add colors to the line where they think we have holes. So, hi Tracy. I forgot to print out the flyer for the March online exclusive stamp set. Not online exclusives, I'm sorry. The March product of the month stamp set. And that will be available beginning March 3rd, I'm guessing. And that will be it will be $5 with a $75 purchase. And that's after your Stampin' Rewards and any coupons that you have, but before taxes and shipping. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. What do we need for this? Hang on just one second. Hey, I'm live. Turn it down, please. Oh, sorry about that. Granddaughter's TV suddenly got extremely loud. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we've got the Moon and Back. We've got Pebbled Path, Secret Sea, Darling Duckling. And then we're going to be using the 2 3/8 inch circle punch to go with the circle in this stamp set. And for the sentiment, I'll be using the 3 banner punch. And we're going to be using the Dotted Circles 3D embossing folder. This is one of those 6x8 folders. Love this one. And for the paper, I've actually pulled in the Lights of Aurora package of paper. Okay, so we've got that going too. Okay, and then for our embellishments, we've got the Shimmer Star foam stickers. These are on last chance, so grab them while you can. And let's get started on this. All right. So I've taken a piece of the Lights of Aurora paper. This is 4 by 5 1/4, and I have emboss that with the dotted circles embossing folder. Okay, and then I've got another piece of that for this came off of one of these sections here. It's from the same piece of paper, and right here, and we're going to use this for a sentiment. Okay, then we've got a pool party cardstock base layer. This is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and our card base is Secret C, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored in the center at 4 1/4. So we can go ahead and put these two layers together because we don't need to do any treatments to these layers. So let's go ahead and do that. Just going to take my liquid glue. This is a 3B and a very detailed 3B. So I definitely want to use my liquid glue on that. I'm going to add that to my base layer here. And center that up. And then I want to have this streak at the top. So when I put that onto my card layer, actually I'm going to use liquid glue because this is I put a very thin margin on this. And if I don't get it just right, I'll be able to move it. So let's just do that. And then we'll add this. Okay, there we go. So that is that, and the rest will be stamping. So let's go ahead and get that started. All right, so we're going to emboss our sentiment. So I'm going to bring in my embossing tools. And we're going to take the happy birthday sentiment, and this comes from the Moon and Back. So let's take some Versamark. We're just going to stamp that in here. Hopefully straight, or fairly straight. Put that embossing powder on. And then we're going to give that just a little heat set there. Let's move this out of the way so I don't accidentally melt what I don't want to melt. Okay, and that looks pretty good. So we have that. Now let's set this aside. We can put that away. I'm going to go ahead and put the lid back on this so I don't dump it, because that would not be good. And we are using it again. So I'm going to take and cut this out with the 3-banner punch. And hopefully I left myself enough room there to center that up. Ooh, it's going to be close. But I think I did it. Just give that a quick little punch, and there's our sentiment ready to go when we're ready for it. All right, now let's get our basic white that we need to stamp. And oops, we don't need that. We just need this. And let's get our little, that piece isn't going to be big enough. For some reason, I don't have a scrap in there ready to stamp on. So here we go. We'll just use this, and we're going to take Pebbled Path. And this is just a scrap I had in my bin, so I'm just going to stamp this. And then we're going to stamp the little spaceship. Okay. All right. And then we need our circle piece. Okay, so I'm going to take this scrap here. And some darling duckling. And then I need a piece of scratch paper. We're going to take this large moon circle stamp. I'm going to stamp that off. Let me get it inked up correctly. We'll stamp it off. And then we're going to stamp it on over here. Second generation. Still don't like the way that looks. Try that again. There we go. Maybe a little better. Two sides to every piece of paper. So, wow. I can't believe I'm having that much trouble. What is wrong with this? Okay. Doesn't make sense to me. All right, let's try it one more time. The stamp did not do that to me yesterday. There we go. Now we've got it. Now we're good. Yay. Okay, then we're going to take the secret C. And we're going to take the sentiment, love you to the moon and back. And we're going to place this in here, like so. Okay. And then we need pool party, which I must have put in the wrong bin. There we go. And we're going to take this little tiny heart that also comes in the love you to, or moon and back. And I'm going to take and put that right here in the O's of my moon. Okay. Just thought that was kind of a nice little touch. Made it kind of look like eyeballs. And then we're going to take our 2 3/8 inch punch. And we'll punch that out. And now, I believe all of our stamping is done. back in there. Okay, so now we need to color these. And so for these, to color these, I brought in my watercolor pencils. What was that? Hopefully that didn't dry out. Okay, so I've got real red, blue, and the basic gray watercolor pencils. And I'm going to start with the blue. And I'm going to color up his little spacesuit here. Okay. This little helmet. And then let's get this part on the arms. And then we're going to switch to real red. Okay. And then we're going to take the basic gray and put a little gray here and here. Oops, I forgot to do the spaceship. Put some gray here. Tiny bit of red at the tip. And then we'll do some blue here. Okay. And there is our little guys. But now I'm going to bring in our Wink of Stella. And we're going to use this like a blender pen to soften those coloring lines and fill in anything we didn't get with the pencil. I tried using the aqua painter, but this was just too tiny for me to get a very good result. Okay, then we need that paper back, or scratch paper back. Just wipe that off between colors. And I'm just going to leave the gray. All right, so there are our pieces. Now there are no dies for this, so you do have to fussy cut. And through the magic of video, there we go. There they are. Okay, let's go ahead and put these together. So we're going to start by putting this in the center here, and because this is 3D, I'm going to put a very thin glue because I don't want the glue lines to show later. And sometimes with basic white, you do get that, so I try not to put too much glue for sure. Okay, then we're going to take our little space guy and I'm going to put a couple of glue dots. And for this, I just want a smaller piece, but I need it to be large enough that it can grab onto oh, not there. Here, this is where I need because I need it to do a little bit of grabbing here. So I'm just going to cut myself a piece that will work. Like so. That's why I like the edge of my dimensionals. And then we're going to take that piece and we're going to attach our space guy to that dimensional. But I want it to go a little bit more like this. Okay. So we've got that. I think that's stuck on there. It's not looking nice and solid. Okay, come on. Then we're going to put this up here. Nope, that is not going to. Okay, let's go ahead and put this down. And then I'll put this on here. There we go. Okay, so there's our space guy. Now we'll take and put on our sentiment. Hello, Laura. Hello, Jennifer. Thanks for joining. And then I don't want that to sag in the middle. So I'm just going to add that little scrap there I had left. It'll be enough to keep it from sagging. And then we're going to take this, add it down here. I want it to look kind of like it's in that circle. And finally, let's bring in our stars. Okay. So we're going to take the white stars and I'm going to scatter those out here. And there we go. Now we have our stars. And that is the outside of our card finished. Now, for the inside of our card, I took the little planet stamp with the little moon or sun, I guess it could be. Well, no, the sun would have to be bigger. And then the little stars and things here. And I put "You're Out of This World," which of course also comes with this stamp set and fits right in this circle. And that is the inside. Okay. So there is card number 1. And here is our envelope. Okay, let's go ahead and get set up for card number 2. Hope you all like that. It's a quick little sneak peek at an upcoming stamp set that will be available with the March online exclusives. So I thought I would show that to you. It'll be available next Tuesday, the 3rd. All right. Let's get a few things out of our way. And then we'll get started. I got a little bit of a mess already. It's amazing how quickly I can make a mess. One little card and it looks like a disaster has hit. Okay, so here we go. All right. So card number 2. For card number 2, we're going to be using Greenery Lane. This is from the current mini catalog. And we're also going to be using pop-up petals. And this is an online exclusive. These two are available right now. We're going to be using the pearlized faceted circles for our embellishments. Excuse me. Our trim is the petal pink braided trim. This is on the last chance list, and it has been marked down a second time to $5.20. So we're going to use that. And then let's get started. Oh, the other thing I need to show you is, let me get my other paper out of the way here. We need this is another sneak peek of some online exclusive product coming in next week. This is called the Homemade Sweetness 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. This is the piece of paper we'll be using today. Here's a look at that paper. The back side of that one. And that is a look at the paper. Okay, so we're going to be using that. Oh, thanks, you guys. I'm glad you love that card. I had hoped really to show you more sneak peeks of the online exclusives, but a lot of the things that I pre-ordered are on back order and probably won't be available at the launch of the product offering. So we're going to use what we have because we have plenty. So let's go ahead and we'll get started. So we're going to start with a Misty Moonlight piece of cardstock. I sort of took my colors from the paper, but well, really, I picked the paper based on the colors I used. Let's go that way because that's really what I did. So this is a 4 1/4 by 11. So it's a half sheet of cardstock, but cut in half, opposite of what I usually do. And then I've already scored this at 5 1/2, which is the center point. Okay. And then I've also scored it at 6 3/4. So 5 1/2, 6 3/4. And this one is going to fold the opposite direction. Okay. So we're doing a book binding fold. And let's see. We have a piece of the Designer Series paper. This is 1 inch by 4 inches. And for this card and my sample card, what I did was I took a 1 inch by 12 inch piece, cut them in lengths of 4 inches, and then for the inside of my card, I cut this in half to put across the bottom for both cards. So 1 inch by 12 inch did 2 full cards for me. So let's go ahead and add this to our card front. Okay. This is the hard part for me. Trying to get this. Oh, and I should have done this before I did this, but it's okay. It won't matter. We'll do it. We'll do it after. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so good. I got that lined up pretty good. Now I'm going to bring in some Stampin' Blends here. And I'm going to use the light Calypso Coral. And the centers of these flowers, I think, are Darling Duckling. I don't want them to be Darling Duckling. That doesn't match my card. So I'm going to take my light Calypso Coral, bullet tip, and I'm just going to dot the centers of those flowers with my Calypso Coral and change those to match what I chose to do. Okay, that's how you make your paper fit your color combo. Okay, so that's done. Now we're ready to do our stamping. So let's go ahead. I'm going to start with my, let me move these out of the way for the moment. I've got a couple of scraps of basic white here. Okay. And we're going to take the little flower, the little flower that looks like sunflower kind of, whatever. This one right here. And we need 8 of these. So I'm going to take Memento, Tuxedo Black, and I'm going to stamp 8 of those. Okay? All right. Pretend there's 8. Okay. Then I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Blends here. Okay. And I'm going to color 4 of these in one color combo and 4 of them in another. So we're going to start with Dark Petal Pink. And we're going to flick some Dark Petal Pink on 4 of these like this. Okay. And then we're going to take our Light Petal Pink and we're going to fill that in on those 4. And then we're going to do the Medium Deep SU 400 from the Tones collection. And we're going to color in the center. The centers of all 4, right? Because we did 4, remember? Okay, so then for the next set of 4, we're going to take Dark Calypso Coral. All right. And then we're going to take our Light Calypso Coral. And then we're going to take our Deep SU 200 from the Tones and color those in. Okay. And when we get those 8 all colored, then we're going to take our Wink of Stella and we're going to color in the centers. Okay. Okay, get it in your spot there. Thank you. All right, now there is a matching die for this in the pop-up petals. And when you purchase this as a bundle, you save 10%. So we'll just take this little one, and it's easiest. These little flowers have like this long pointy piece, and if you match those up, it matches up pretty quick every time. Okay, so then you're going to cut out all 8 of those flowers. And through the magic of video, there they are, all 8 of them. Okay, so we've got 4 in Calypso Coral and 4 in Petal Pink. Now we need to make our wreath, and to do that we're going to use a 4-inch by 4-inch square piece of basic white. I'm going to bring in the Stampin' Positioner tool. And for this, we're going to be using this center pointy piece here, but we're not going to start on the center pointy piece. Okay, we're going to start square. And so I'm putting this piece of cardstock at the 2-inch and the 4-inch, because that's going to give me a direct the middle point. Okay, because this is a 4-inch piece of paper, so this is my center point. I've got 2 inches on this side and 2 inches on this side. And this is where I need to start in order to make this work properly. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and take our um, tool here. Uh-oh, that's what I lost. No? Yes, I lost that. Oh my gosh, I lost my stamp. I knocked it off. I knew I lost something before I started, you guys. I apparently knocked it off and into my garbage can. I knew it was something substantial, but I didn't know what it was. I had it stuck to my block. Oh my gosh. It's the filler part of this stamp. I have to find that. So I'm going to put this in about, here, let me look at my other one. Got my sample piece here, so I'll make sure I get this right. Yeah, about right there will work. What I want to do is put the tip of this leaf pointed at the center point right there. I'm going to put that in like that. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and lay this down on my tool. I'm going to pick that up. Okay. I'm going to have to dump that whole garbage can out. And of course it's full, you know. Okay. That happened right before I went live. Okay. As I was getting my thing set up. So now I'm going to stamp this down. I don't know why I turned that because I didn't need to. And then I'm going to move this and I'm going to put it into the corner piece there. And then we're going to lay that back down. I'm going to push on the back of this to make sure it's all nice and straight. And then I'm going to move this again. I'm going to put this again at the 2 and the 4. Just like that. And then we'll stamp that. Whoops, we didn't get that all the way. So we'll put it back in, line it back up. Okay. And then we're going to put that back in the corner. And stamp that down. I did it again. Good thing we're using a stamp positioner. And then between the 2 and 4 again. I wish I had finished this ahead of time. And I didn't need that stamp. Oh, I didn't ink that all the way. So let's redo that. I missed the very tip of that leaf up here. Okay. And then we're going to put it back in the corner piece there. And ink this up again. Okay. Man, why am I having so much trouble there? I'm just not pressing properly. And then the final one will be here. And then our wreath will be complete. Make sure I get that inked up properly. Okay. All right, there we go. Then I will clean this. And I would get the stamp that fills that in, and I would repeat that process. But my garbage can is pretty stinking full, and hopefully I'll be able to find it in here, but I don't want to take all your time, so I'm not going to do that. So you're just going to have to imagine that I laid my stamp down on here, because that's what I would do. I would put this back to the 2 and 4 position, like so. Put the fill-in stamp on here. Press it down, and then I would ink it again, but this time in Granny Apple Green. Okay. And I would go all the way around again. But I don't want you to have to wait for me to try and find that stamp that I know is in that trash can and or fallen on my floor where I can't see it. And hopefully I'll find it. So we're going to go on with our card. Okay? Okay, so now we're going to take this back. And this time, we're going to put this back on here. And again, I'm going to put it at the 2 and the 4. And then I'm going to line the sentiment, you make my life, or yeah, you make my life better just by being in it. I'm going to line this up in here. And hopefully that's straight. We'll find out in a minute. And then I'm going to put my plate on, my Stampin' Up! Logo up where I can see it. And by the graph there, or the grid there, it looks straight. So I'm just going to pick that up. And it's okay if it picks up my paper, because I know right where I need to put it at the 2 and the 4. Get that right in there. And then we're going to ink this up in Misty Moonlight. Okay, so I'm going to ink that up. And then I'll turn this over. Again, make sure it's where I want it. And then I'm going to give that a good press. And give the ink a minute to transfer. And now my sentiment is right there. In the center, right where I want it. Okay? So I've got that. Then to finish this off, I'm going to take these flowers and I'm going to take my piercing mat. Okay. And then we're going to take the tip of our take your pick tool. Give those a little press. Okay. Turn those over. Actually, no, it'll work better this way. Every time I try to do that, I flatten them, and I don't want to flatten them. Okay, this is going to be one of those nights, I can tell. You know. I kind of like the way that looks. It gave it kind of a geometric shape. Okay, well, you guys get the picture on these because I'm not going to be able to totally finish this card because I need to find my stamp. Okay, so we would do that, and then all of these would go in these spots here like this, and alternating the colors. Okay, all the way around. And if you do it right, wow, did I mess up the colors? Anyway, you get the picture. Okay, so let's set this aside. I'll finish this later. And of course, I'll show you the finished card here in a minute. Oh my goodness. Okay, in the meantime, let's finish this up. So what I wanted to do with this is take some of the braided twine, and what I did was I took that braided twine apart. So you just take your pick tool like this, cut this down to the size you want it, and then just start unbraiding it. Okay, and you need about 21 inches. All right. And when we get that unbraided, then we're going to take one strand and make a bow. And make a double bow, right? What did I do with my cut? There it is. Yep, and make a double bow. Oh my goodness. Okay. Actually, we're going to make a triple bow. Make a triple bow. I tried doing this with 3 strands, but I didn't like the way it looked. Doing a 3-stranded, I don't know, there's something about having 3 strands at the end of a bow that I just don't like. So I did it this way. I prefer the triple loop with a single tails. Okay, so then we've got that. All right, so there's our bow. And then we're going to take a shorter piece of this and put it into 3 strands. And we're going to open up our card. I'm going to take a piece of tear and tape. Okay. And you only have an inch of space, so try not to get carried away. Even up our strands here. I'm going to put that right in the center there, like so, and give that tear and tape a good burnish. Okay, then we're going to move this down here like this. Keep it nice and taut. Take another piece of tear and tape. Tear that off. And put that down. Okay. And then we'll give that a good burnish. And trim this off. Okay. And that's what we've got. So at this point now we can take and glue together our card. I'm going to glue this section, so I'm going to remove the tear and tape adhesive. Give me 1 second, ladies. Can you do me a... There's a stamp lost in here. Clear. Okay, so I'm just going to put my glue on here. Katie just came in. She's going to look for my stamp for me. Okay, and then we're going to glue this. It's like 3 little leaves stuck together in one stamp. Okay. Okay, so now we've got that. And I've given that a really good burnish. And then we're going to take our bow and a glue dot. And I'm going to roll this glue dot up. Okay. And put it on the back here. And then I'm going to put this about right here. And make sure that stays. And then I'm going to take another glue dot because I want this braided trim to stay put, but I needed to know where my bow was going to go so I could pull that down. All right. So then we would put our flowered square on here and add our gems, and this is the final card. Okay. And then for the inside, I took that same leaf, the paper, and then this happy birthday comes from Simply Said. Okay. And then we'll add that to the inside of our card. And then it would be finished. Okay, and there is the matching envelope. So there we go, you guys. That's what I have for you tonight. There's the happy birthday on the back. Got that. And card number 1. Hello, Cher. All right, let's get this. So there we go. That's what I have for you tonight. I hope to see you back Thursday night on YouTube at 7 p.m. for my live. And if not, maybe we'll see you back here next Tuesday night at 7 right here on Facebook. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Good night.